I came home early and heard voices. Before opening the door, I called my lawyer. Walked in, saw him, said nothing. Just took photos, left, and filed for separation. When she called hours later, my lawyer answered. Her shock that I'd moved that fast was priceless. Original post: I, 36 male, need to get this down while the adrenaline is still effectively keeping me awake. It's 3 a.m., I'm in a hotel room that smells like lemon disinfectant and stale cigarettes, and my entire life just did a complete 180 in the span of 6 hours. Let's set the scene. I've been married to my wife, 34 female, for 7 years. We bought a fixer-upper about 8 months ago. Classic millennial dream, right? Buy the worst house on the best block, pour your savings into it, build equity. We hired a general contractor, let's call him the contractor, to handle the kitchen and master bath extension. He's been in our house every day for the last 3 months. Nice guy. Or so I thought. Drank my coffee, petted my dog, laughed at my jokes. Yesterday was a Tuesday. My afternoon client canceled. A big manufacturing deal that fell through, so I found myself with a free afternoon. I didn't text my wife. I figured I'd surprise her, maybe take her out for an early dinner since she works from home on Tuesdays. I pulled into the driveway at 2:15 p.m. The contractor's truck was there, not unusual. He's usually wrapping up around 4, but timelines slip. I unlocked the front door quietly. Not because I was suspicious, but because I didn't want to startle anyone if they were using power tools. But there were no power tools. The house was dead silent. Then I heard it. It came from the living room, not the construction zone in the back. It was a laugh. Her laugh. The one she uses when she's 3 glasses of wine deep and flirting. Then a male voice, low and murmuring. "You think he suspects?" the male voice asked. It was the contractor. "No way," my wife replied. She sounded smug. That's the only word for it. He's so focused on the budget, he doesn't notice anything else. Besides, he thinks you're doing the plumbing rough-in right now. "I am doing the plumbing," the contractor chuckled. "Just a different kind." Gross, I know. My hand was on the living room door handle. In any movie, this is where the guy kicks the door down, screams, throws a punch, but I froze. A cold wash of clarity hit me. If I walk in there now and scream, it becomes a he said, she said domestic dispute. If I lose my cool, I lose the upper hand. I stepped back onto the porch and closed the front door silently. I sat in my car and looked at my phone. My hands weren't even shaking. It was weird. I felt like I was watching a simulation of my own life. I scrolled to lawyer in my contacts. He's a buddy from college, specializes in family law, absolute shark of a human being when he needs to be. "Hey man," he answered. "What's up? Golf this weekend?" "No," I said. "I'm outside my house. My wife is inside with our contractor. I can hear them discussing their affair. What do I do?" Silence on the line for 2 seconds, then shift in tone. Purely professional. "Do not engage. Do not get violent. Do you have a tea?" "Yes." "Go in, quietly. If they are in a compromising position, take a photo. Video is better. Do not say a word. Do not argue. Get the evidence, turn around and leave. Drive straight to my office. Can you do that?" "Yeah." "I'm drafting the separation agreement now. Go." I hung up, took a deep breath, walked back to the door. I opened it, tiptoed through the hallway. The living room layout is open concept, or it will be once the reno is done. Right now, there are plastic sheets hanging everywhere to block dust. I peered through a gap in the plastic. They weren't having sex. That almost would have been better. They were sitting on our new, expensive beige sectional, the one I didn't want because it stains easily, eating takeout sushi. His feet were up on the coffee table. Her head was on his shoulder. He was feeding her a piece of tuna roll. It was intimate, domestic, like they were the couple and I was the intruder. I raised my phone, hit record. I stepped through the plastic sheeting. The sound of the plastic crinkling made them jump. The contractor scrambled to sit up, knocking the soy sauce over onto the rug. My wife turned pale, her mouth still open. "Honey," she squeaked. "You're home early." I didn't say a word. I just panned the camera from his face to hers, to the spilled food, to his boots on the table. I held the camera on her face for a solid 5 seconds. "What are you doing?" the contractor asked, standing up. He looked aggressive. "You can't just..." I snapped a still photo of him standing there, shirt half unbuttoned. Then I turned around. "Wait, stop," my wife yelled, scrambling off the couch. "It's not what it looks like. We were just taking a break." I kept walking. Out the front door, down the steps. "Baby, please," she screamed from the porch. I got in my car, locked the doors, and backed out of the driveway. I saw the contractor standing in the doorway, looking confused, like a deer in headlights. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. We spent 3 hours going over everything. Assets, the house, the renovation contracts. He filed the petition for legal separation electronically before I even left his office. He also sent a cease and desist to the contractor regarding the renovation work, citing conflict of interest and breach of contract. Then came the call. My phone had been buzzing non-stop. 23 missed calls from her, 5 from him. At 6:30 p.m., she called again. My lawyer held out his hand. "Give it to me." I handed him my phone. He put it on speaker. "Hello?" My wife's voice, frantic. "This is lawyer's last name, representing your husband," he said, calm, detached. "What? Why are you answering his phone? Let me talk to him." "He is currently indisposed. I am informing you that a petition for separation has been filed. You will be served shortly. My client will not be returning to the marital residence tonight. Direct all further communication to my office." "Separation? Are you kidding me?" She let out a hysterical laugh. "I didn't do anything. He's blowing this out of proportion. It was just lunch." "Ma'am," my lawyer said, voice dropping an octave. "We have the video, we have the timeline, and frankly, based on the audio my client overheard regarding the plumbing, I'd suggest you save the denial for a less intelligent audience." Silence. Total silence. Then a small, quiet, "He moved that fast?" "He did," my lawyer said. "Have a good evening." He hung up. So here I am. The hotel Wi-Fi is trash. I have no clothes because I didn't pack a bag. I have a half-finished house I can't live in, a marriage that's dead in the water, and a bill for a contractor who is sleeping with my wife. But you know what? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. And knowing she's sitting in that house right now, realizing she can't spin this, she can't gaslight me, and she can't talk her way out of it, that's the only thing keeping me sane. Tomorrow, I have to go back with a police escort to get my clothes and my work laptop. Wish me luck. Update 1. 5 days later. It's been 5 days. If I thought the Band-Aid rip was painful, the infection setting in is worse. Wednesday morning, I met the police officers at the house. I needed my suits, my laptop, and my birth certificate passport. The officers were polite but distant. Civil standby, they called it. When we pulled up, the contractor's truck was there. Again. The audacity was breathtaking. I unlocked the door. The officers went in first. My wife was in the kitchen, or the shell of the kitchen. She was wearing my robe. The contractor was leaning against the counter, drinking coffee from my mug. "You can't be here," the contractor said to me, pointing a finger. "She doesn't feel safe with you." One of the cops stepped forward. "Sir, this is his residence. He has a right to retrieve his property. Step back." My wife looked like she hadn't slept, but the moment she saw the cops, she turned on the waterworks. "He's so controlling," she sobbed to the female officer. "He just disappeared. He abandoned me here with no money, and now he brings police? I'm scared of what he might do." I ignored her. I walked past them to the bedroom. I grabbed my suitcase, packed my clothes, grabbed the safe box from the closet. When I came back out, the contractor was talking to the male officer. "Technically, I'm a tenant," he was saying. "I've been staying here to finish the job fast. He can't kick me out." I stopped dead. "A tenant?" I asked. "Show me the lease." "Verbal agreement," he smirked. "With the lady of the house." The cop looked at me. "Sir, if he's established residency, you'd have to formally evict him. It's a civil matter." I looked at my wife. She avoided my eyes. She had moved her boyfriend in less than 24 hours after I left. Or maybe he never really left. "Fine," I said. "Enjoy the house. It's got a leaky roof and the furnace is acting up. Good luck." I left. But the real kicker came yesterday. I checked our joint bank account, the one we use for the mortgage and bills. Empty. $12,000. Gone. Transferred to her personal account. Then I got an email from the contractor's company, which I'm pretty sure is just him in a dusty van. Invoice number 4042, services rendered, emergency plumbing, structural reinforcement, expedited labor. Total due $8,500. I called my lawyer immediately. "Can they do this?" I asked, pacing around my tiny rental apartment. I moved out of the hotel. "The money transfer? It's a gray area before the official filing date, but it looks bad for her," he said. "The invoice? That's fraud if the work wasn't done. or it's an attempt to funnel marital assets to her lover. What do I do? We freeze everything, he said, and we stop paying the mortgage. Stop paying? My credit score is going to take a hit, he interrupted. But listen to me. She is living there with him. He is claiming residency. If you pay that mortgage, you are subsidizing their life. We file an emergency motion for the sale of the marital home. We claim the asset is being devalued and misappropriated. We force a sale. She loves that house, I said. It was her dream. She should have thought about that before she moved the contractor into the master bedroom, he replied. So I did it. I cut the direct deposit. I canceled the utilities that were in my name, electric and water. I sent her a text, the first one in 5 days. Utilities are in your name as of tomorrow. Mortgage is your responsibility since you have exclusive use of the property. Lawyer says hi. Her response came 3 minutes later. Wife, you are a monster. The fridge is off. All the food is spoiling. How am I supposed to live? Me asked the tenant. Maybe he can fix it. Then the phone calls started. Her mother, her father, her sister. My mother-in-law left a voicemail that was 3 minutes of screaming. You promised to take care of her. You took a vow, so she made a mistake? You don't leave a woman destitute. Be a man. A mistake. Sleeping with the guy we're paying $40K to renovate our kitchen is a mistake. Moving him in is a mistake. Draining our account is a mistake. I'm not responding to them. My lawyer sent them a formal letter stating that any further harassment would result in a restraining order. But here's the part that really grinds my gears. My friends, our mutual friends, are split. Apparently, she's spinning a narrative that I was emotionally absent and financially abusive because I watched the renovation budget too closely. One friend texted me, "Dude, I get you're mad, but cutting off the power? That's abusive." I didn't cut the power. I just took my name off the bill. She has the $12,000 she stole. She can pay the deposit, but nobody wants to hear facts. They just hear, poor wife in the dark. I'm meeting with a forensic accountant on Monday. My lawyer thinks the contractor has been overcharging us for materials for months and kicking the difference back to, well, dates, I assume. If we can prove fraud, we don't just divorce her. We sue him. I'm tired. I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor of a studio apartment. But I checked my security camera app this morning. I forgot to disconnect the external cameras. The contractor's truck has a flat tire in the driveway, and there's a code enforcement notice taped to the front door. Apparently, someone reported unpermitted work being done on the property. I wonder who that could have been. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Things have escalated, and by escalated, I mean they have gone completely off the rails. The forensic accountant, let's call him the numbers guy, is a wizard. He went through the last 6 months of renovation invoices and compared them to our bank statements and the actual work done. Turns out we paid for high-end Italian marble that is actually generic ceramic tile from a big box store. We paid for custom cabinetry that is standard stock. The difference? About $15,000. Where did that money go? Well, the numbers guy found a pattern. Every time a large draw was paid to the contractor, my wife's credit card bill, which she usually pays from her personal account, would get a large payment. Basically, I was paying the contractor and he was funneling a portion of it back to her or spending it on her, effectively laundering my money to fund their affair. My lawyer was practically salivating when he saw the spreadsheet. This isn't just divorce anymore, he said. This is civil conspiracy to commit fraud. We filed the motion. We also served the contractor with a lawsuit for breach of contract, fraud, and unpermitted work. That's when the entitlement hit the fan. My wife, or I should say, soon-to-be ex, requested an emergency hearing for temporary spousal support. Her argument? She is accustomed to a certain standard of living, and my departure has caused her undue hardship. She showed up to court wearing old clothes, no makeup, looking like a Victorian orphan. The contractor was not there. Her lawyer, who I suspect she paid with the stolen $12K, argued that I was vindictive, that I abandoned the marital home, and that I should be paying the mortgage plus $2,000 a month in alimony while the divorce is pending. My lawyer stood up. He didn't yell. He just handed the judge the forensic report and the photos I took that day. "Your Honor," he said, The hardship is self-inflicted. The petitioner is currently cohabitating with the co-defendant in the fraud case. We have evidence that marital funds were embezzled to facilitate their relationship. The judge, a stern woman who looked like she had zero patience for nonsense, skimmed the report. She looked at the photo of the contractor eating sushi with his boots on my table. She looked at my wife. "Ma'am," the judge asked, "is Mr. Contractor's name living in the home?" He stays over sometimes for security," my wife stammered, "because my husband cut the locks." "I didn't cut the locks, I just didn't give her the new key to the back gate." "And is he paying rent?" the judge asked. "No." "So you want your husband to pay the mortgage on a house where you are living with your paramour, who is also the subject of a fraud investigation regarding said house?" My wife looked at her lawyer. Her lawyer looked at the floor. "Motion for temporary support denied," the judge said, banging the gavel. "Motion to sell the marital residence granted. The property will be listed immediately. Proceeds held in escrow until the fraud investigation is complete." I almost cheered. But wait, it gets better. Since the court ordered the house sold, real estate agents had to come in to take photos. My wife refused to let them in. She claimed she had COVID. Then she claimed the house was not ready. My lawyer had to get a court order forcing her to allow access. The agent called me after the walkthrough. "Sir," she said, sounding horrified, "the house it's a wreck." "I know, it's under construction," I said. "No, I mean there are holes in the drywall that aren't for construction. There is trash everywhere. It smells like smoke. And the kitchen cabinets, the ones that were installed, they've been ripped out." "Ripped out?" "Gone. Just hanging wires." I drove over. I didn't care about the restraining order warnings. I sat in the street. The contractor's truck was loaded high with boxes. My cabinets, my fixtures. He was stripping the house. He knew the jig was up. He knew he was getting sued. So he was stealing the materials he technically bought, with my money, to sell them elsewhere. I called the police. This time, they didn't tell me to leave. I showed them the court order regarding the house sale and the lawsuit against the contractor. "That's theft," the officer said. They stopped him in the driveway. My wife came running out screaming like a banshee. "Those are his. He bought them. You can't take them." "Ma'am," the cop said, "these are fixtures of the house. Removing them is theft." They made him unload everything, on the lawn, in the rain. My wife was crying, screaming that I was ruining his livelihood. "He needs those for another job. He's broke because you stopped the payments," she yelled at me from the porch. "Not my problem," I said, rolling down my window. "Maybe he can pay you back the $15 he overcharged us." She looked at me with pure hatred. "I hate you. You're petty. You're a sad little man. And you," I said, "are dating a thief who lives in a van. Upgrade?" The best part? The contractor didn't even defend her. He was too busy trying to talk the cop out of impounding his truck for expired registration, which I may have mentioned to the dispatcher. He looked at her and said, "Shut up, wife's name. You're making it worse." The look on her face. The realization that without my money and without the fun secrecy of the affair, he was just a rude, broke guy stealing cabinets in the rain. The house is listed as is. We're gonna lose money, a lot of it. But watching the reality truck hit them at 60 miles per hour, worth every penny. Update 3. Final update. 6 months later. The dust has settled, mostly. The divorce was finalized last week. It wasn't the slam dunk, I get everything victory you see in movies. Real life doesn't work that way. The legal system is designed to be equitable, not just. But I'll take what I got. Here is the scorecard. The house, sold. We took a $40,000 loss after paying off the mortgage and the selling fees, mostly because the kitchen was a gutted war zone. Normally, that debt would be split 50-50. However, thanks to the numbers guy and the fraud evidence, the judge ruled that the dissipation of assets, the stolen materials, the overpayments, was her fault. So the remaining equity from the sale, what little there was, went 100% to me. She walked away with $0 from the house. Actually worse, she walked away with a debt to me for half the loss, which was deducted from her share of our retirement accounts. The contractor. He didn't show up to court for the civil suit. Default judgment in my favor for $28,000. Good luck collecting it, right? Well, turns out he had a bond, a surety bond required for his license, which was barely valid. My lawyer went after the bond company. They paid out. It took months of paperwork, but I got about $12,000 back. The contractor also has a permanent mark on his license record now. Last I heard, he moved 2 states over. And yes, he dumped my ex-wife about 2 weeks after the cabinet incident. Apparently, once the free housing and the cash flow stopped, their soulmate connection dried up pretty fast. The ex-wife, she is living with her parents. The same parents who called me a monster. I heard from a mutual friend that the living arrangement is tense. Her dad is furious about the financial mess she made. Her mom is still trying to spin it that I was the bad guy, but it's hard to sell that story when your daughter was caught helping her boyfriend strip copper wire out of her own house, metaphorically speaking. She tried to reach out last month, a long email, no subject line. I know I messed up, I was confused, he manipulated me. I miss our life, I miss the dog, can we just get coffee? I didn't reply. I forwarded it to my lawyer, who sent a standard "do not contact my client" response. I don't feel hate anymore. I just feel indifferent. She's a stranger who happens to know my social security number. Me, I'm in a decent apartment now. It's small, the furniture is IKEA. My credit score took a hit, dipping into the high 600s for a bit, but it's climbing back up. I lost the dream home. I lost a chunk of my savings. I lost the last 7 years of emotional investment. But last Saturday, I woke up at 9 a.m. There was no construction noise, no sawdust, no passive-aggressive comments about the budget. I made coffee. I sat on my cheap balcony. I realized I haven't had a panic attack in 4 months. My friends, the real ones who stuck by me, took me out for a freedom dinner. We didn't go to a club. We went to a dive bar with sticky floors and played pool. One of them asked, "Do you regret moving that fast? Calling the lawyer before you even opened the door?" I thought about it. I thought about the alternative. Screaming. Fighting. Trying to work it out while they drained my accounts dry behind my back. No, I said. It was the best call I ever made. Sometimes, the smartest thing you can do is shut your mouth, take the photo, and let the law do the heavy lifting. She wanted a drama. She wanted a fight she could win with tears and gaslighting. I gave her a contract dispute, and she couldn't cry her way out of a spreadsheet. I'm not hiking the Himalayas. I'm not dating a supermodel. I'm just a guy eating a pepperoni pizza on a Tuesday, watching Netflix without headphones, and it feels fantastic. Thanks for reading Reddit. Check your contractors and trust your gut.